As COVID-19 cases continue to rise, a member of the Octa research team says reverting to a stricter quarantine status should be the last resort. Family members with longer exposure outside are now advised to wear face masks inside their homes. The Health Department in Region 7 confirms that COVID-19 cases in Cebu City are going down. And some 4 million Filipinos are unemployed as of January this year, but the Labor Department is hoping that this will improve as the vaccine rollout continues. Fast, focused, and fearless. Here's a roundup of stories we're watching now. I'm Sean Yao. The World Health Organization is backing the Health Department's position that there's no community transmission yet of the new COVID-19 variants in the country. Greg Gregorio with the full report.
A World Health Organization representative believes that the recent increase in COVID-19 cases is not a second wave, but merely another spike in the current epidemic wave. Dr. Rabindra Bayasinghe says it needs to be addressed right on the ground where infections are increasing.
There is a need to strengthen the protocols on the ground on how we detect early, quarantine, isolate, and manage patients, while emphasizing that we are also urging the public to comply with the public health requirements.
The WHO official adds that there is no sufficient evidence yet of a community transmission of the more infectious variants in the country. That's despite the detection of 176 cases of the B117 and B1351 variants, which were first detected in the UK and South Africa respectively.
The number of variants confirmed is very limited. You may be aware that testing for variants is very costly, and so there is very limited testing being done for variants. And the key issue is interpreting the findings and doing representative sampling, and that's what we are working with the DOH to strengthen.
Despite the rising cases, the Octa research team does not recommend reverting to a stricter community quarantine.
Even the thought of going back to a stricter quarantine dahil medyo na-devastate talaga yung economy natin. Pero we can use it as a last resort pag talagang umabot na tayo sa critical or catastrophic levels na sobrang dami na ng cases.
David is instead suggesting to temporarily reduce the capacity in establishments.
Dati nasa 30% yung capacity for some restaurants, pwede natin ibalik to 30%. Ganun din sa ibang, maybe even churches, pwede natin i-consider yan.
As for the vaccine rollout, the WHO says the government may expect the delivery of 117,000 Pfizer vaccine doses either by late March or April. It will then be followed by 4.5 million more jabs from AstraZeneca through the COVAX facility between April and May. Vaccine czar Carlito Galvez Jr. also reported to President Duterte that more shots will be coming.
Meron pong order ang private sector na 2.6 million. So nakita po natin baka humigit po tayo ng mga 20 million po ang ating makukuha between the end of April, May, June po siya. Yung second quarter po.
The Health Department maintains that healthcare workers will be prioritized to be followed by senior citizens.
We really have to finish A1 and A2 nationwide. No? So yun yung very priority because they are really the ones who are at most risk for death and for exposure. No? So that has to happen nationwide, and we will do that depending on the supply.
With 35,000 individuals inoculated and counting, the government reported that the country has seen an increase in vaccine confidence. For News 5, Greg Gregorio, we are One News.
And the Department of Health Region 7 confirms that COVID-19 cases in Cebu City have started to go down after weeks of steady increase. In an interview with One News, spokesperson Dr. Mary Jean Loreche said infections in the Queen City of the South are now down to around 150 per day from up to 300 2 weeks ago. When asked about the primary cause of the spike, Loreche explained that it was most likely due to the mobility or movement of people and not the new variants or mutations of concern.
These are cases na kinuha natin, ang samples nila when they tested positive. They underwent the mandatory 14-day quarantine, exhausting also contact tracing and isolation. So heto naman masasabi natin, these are already contained.
The health official also reported that almost 90% of the city's healthcare workers are now willing to get vaccinated with Sinovac shots after the rollout.
We have already 1,904 vaccinated individuals, and the sign up is 2,673. So we're almost 90%, with increase in our number of employees that are really now confident.
And one infectious disease expert suggests that people with longer outside exposure should wear face masks even inside their homes. This is amid a rise in cases of family clustering of infections or in-family transmission of the virus. In an interview with us here on One News, Dr. Ron Jean Solante noted that people who regularly go out are more prone to contracting the virus. And this is why employment of minimum health protocols, even inside the home, is the best way to protect other family or household members.
As much as possible, they refrain from doing longer interaction, conversation with them, and at most, if they can maintain the physical distance, even at home, and as much as possible, if they can also wear face masks, if they will be doing longer interaction at home, then I think that should be better protecting this vulnerable.
COVID-19 cases in the country reached the 600,000 mark today. The health department reported over 2,600 new infections. Active cases are up to around 41,800. Meanwhile, 7 more people died of the virus, pushing the death toll to more than 12,500. Total recoveries now stand at 546,000 as 170 more survivors were logged in the last 24 hours. And some 4 million Filipinos will remain unemployed as of January. This is according to data from the Philippine Statistics Authority. But the Labor Department is optimistic that the numbers will improve as the vaccine rollout continues. Shyla Francisco tells us more.
Jimson Balingao lost his job as a DJ technician at the onset of the COVID-19 pandemic. 1 year later, he's still looking for a job, be it in the entertainment sector or some other industry.
Kasi nasa entertainment ako eh. Para bang mga kahit mga mobile system or video wala eh. Wala talaga, walang entertainment eh. Baka ka makakuha, zero. Naghahanap din ako magdadrive.
Jimson is just one of the 4 million unemployed Filipinos as of January 2021 based on Philippine Statistics Authority data. This figure translates to an 8.7% unemployment rate as business continue to struggle amid the pandemic. It's the same rate as that of October 2020. This also means the number of unemployed Filipinos rose by 1.6 million from January last year. According to PSA, the unemployment rate is the third highest since April 2005, but it is the highest in all January data since 2006. The agency also recorded 6.6 million underemployed individuals, up from January and October last year. Of the 11 regions that had an increased unemployment rate compared to October 2020, Calabarzon posted the highest at 13.1%. Entertainment, electricity, and accommodation were among the sectors that had the largest drop in employment year-on-year. On the flip side, some 1.6 million people were added in the labor force, and 1.4 million workers have regained employment since October 2020. In an interview with Business World Live, AAA Equities President Matt Cabangon said that economic recovery may not be going as smooth as the government planned.
So now people are looking at rising cases again. People are looking at how slow vaccines are rolling out and now thinking, okay, maybe we were a bit too optimistic last year. This is going to be some sort of VU or whatever letter-shaped recovery. Mm-hmm. So now we have complications right now. As you mentioned, inflation's coming up. So oil prices, food prices, unemployment's not getting much better. So yeah, we are sort of waking up to the reality that the perfect recovery people were expecting isn't quite working out.
The PSA also said that granular lockdowns can still affect employment in the coming months. Meanwhile, economic managers said that more work is needed to be done with regard to providing Filipinos more job opportunities. In a joint statement, they said this includes imposing localized quarantines only in high-risk areas, allowing expanded capacities in various businesses, and widening of age groups allowed to go out in low-risk areas. They also stressed the need for the fast implementation of the recovery packages under the Bayanihan 2 as well as the 2020 budget extension and 2021 budget. Pilot testing of face-to-face classes in lowest risk areas is also one of their recommendations. With the vaccine rollout and observance of minimum health protocols, the Labor Department is optimistic that there will be better employment situation throughout the year as some sectors already expressed expansion plans.
Business process outsourcing pa rin po. And then, siguro po, yung build po natin or the construction sector as a whole, kailangan mas palakasin.
Shaila Francisco, VR1 News.
In other news, Alert Level 2 has been raised over the Taal volcano due to increasing unrest. Romel Lopez is on the ground, joining us from Talisay, Batangas for the latest. Hi, Romel. How are the residents faring over there, and how's the volcano?
Sean, alert level in Taal was raised to level 2 this morning. Resident volcanologists told News 5 that continuous activities of the volcano indicates continuous abnormality and unrest, citing continuous increase of Taal volcano based on the volcanic activity, volcanic earthquake, and change in the main crater lake and the ground deformity. The PHIVOLCS has raised the alert level of Taal to alert level 2 this morning. According to resident volcanologist Pano Revina, they have monitored 28 tremors the last 24 hours with at least four low-frequency volcanic quakes. And total, since February 13, there have been 866 volcanic tremors and 141 low-frequency volcanic earthquakes. Temperature in the main crater increased to 74.6 degrees Celsius, together with the acidity in the area to pH 1.59, indicating sustained volcanic gas into the volcanic hydrothermal system. The ground registered a slow and steady inflation or expansion as well. Revina said that such parameter means probable magmatic activity that may or may not lead into an eruption, thus prompting them to issue an alert level warning. He added that the warning is really to advise and inform the public about the recent activity of Taal. He then said that such activity does not warrant evacuation for the resident beyond the volcano island, but the island should remain a permanent danger zone without any human activity. Residents in the area, meanwhile, can't help but feel scared with the latest development in Taal. According to Talisay, LGU, an estimated 52,000 individuals will be evacuated in case of another eruption. Vice Governor Mark Libiste visited PHIVOLCS Batangas Station as well to carve out plan for the province's response to any eventuality. Sean, Vice Governor Libiste also reiterated that the evacuation at this point will be unnecessary, but he reminded all Batangueños to be ready and vigilant. Sean?
All right, thank you so much for that update from Talisay, Batangas. That was News 5's Romel Lopez. For more updates, visit News 5, The Philippine Star, and Business World online. Visit our website, onenews.ph, for more in-depth analysis. You can also catch One News on the Signal Play app. Register for a free account at www.signalplay.com and stream One News Live anytime, anywhere. Mask on, wash hands, and stay safe, Philippines. I'm Sean Yao. We are One News.